But now we have guests, and that means Kasey Hudson joins us here to start off hour number 2 live on this Wednesday on the Early Line. Kasey, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the SportsGrid Network.
Of course. I want to say that I'd help cool off the situation, but with some of the things I've got to get into, it's only going to heat up for you, Ben. I'm sorry.
Listen, on the ice, though, does cool it down, but with what we saw last night, a doubleheader of Stanley Cup playoff action in both going to OT, including double overtime in the Garden. Yeah, hockey stays hot. But we start first in Dallas. Colorado down 3-0 after the opening period, Kasey, against the Stars, and they rally all the way back to force overtime, and then in the extra session, they steal a victory from the jaws of defeat. The Avs win game number 1 of their second round set against Dallas, 4-3 in OT on the road in Texas. How did the Avalanche even accomplish this feat?
Yeah, they made some major adjustments heading into that second period there. I think that they were anticipating the Dallas Stars to kind of use their speed and just like really attack the net, which they did. They had more shots on goal. But what they did so well is their screening and taking those quick shots. They took away Georgiev's eyes and made sure that they created those scoring chances, and they capitalized on them. Also, when you get a two-man advantage, it says a lot about your team if you get that goal or if you don't get that goal, and that was a huge momentum swing for Dallas. But the Avalanche are that team that you cannot count out, and they've been consistent in having big third periods, and McKinnon showed just that. 39 seconds into the third period, he ties up the game, and he makes sure to keep his team in contention. I think something else is that there's so much scoring depth and opportunity if McKinnon isn't getting on the board, if Rantanen isn't pushing the puck forward. We're seeing Nichushkin having a massive playoff series as well as the end of the regular season. So the Dallas Stars are going to have to play a lot of 60-minute plus hockey to make sure that they keep that from happening again. And Ottinger can't crumble. We saw him do that versus the Vegas Golden Knights last year, and we all know how that played out. So the Avalanche are a tough team to keep out of any contention.
Okay, so the Stars, no strangers, I should say, in the playoffs here to losing at home. But you take a look at a 3-0 first period lead at home in game number 1. Talk about going into game number 2 and how devastating a loss that actually is, because even from a fan perspective, you're sitting in the arena, the party's going right now. 3-0, we easily won this. Can't wait for game number 2, and you find yourself with an overtime loss. How do they bounce back in game number 2 for the Stars?
Yeah, they have to do the same thing that they did when they needed to bounce back too deep from the Vegas Golden Knights in the first series. They have got to make sure that they stick to their game. They've got to make sure that they protect Ottinger to keep him confident between the pipes. And defense was the most questionable thing for the Dallas Stars heading into the playoffs, period. While they have offensive power, while they've got such scoring depth, while they've got Wyatt Johnson, who's just this spectacular 20-year-old collecting points for them, their defensive structure was probably like minutely behind everybody else. And they did some really good things in their D zone, but they also could not manage the Avalanche's speed. So for them, it's just going to be coming out and being an offensive force, alleviating their defense there. And they were able to do that. They cycle the puck. They use their speed. They make sure to keep it in the O zone. And I think that they can, put up a good fight versus the Avalanche. The hard part is how well the Avalanche can kind of match that tempo. While Georgiev had some fantastic plays yesterday, I still do not trust him as much as Ottinger. I think Ottinger probably takes a game or two to kind of get in the swing of things. So I've seen this series going to 7. I think that if last night proved just that we'll see it going to 7. But the Stars have everything possible. Jamie Benn stepped up tremendously for his team. Tyler Sagan's been playing crazy. Robertson is a fantastic two-way player. He's not blocking shots. He's pushing the puck forward and contributing offensively. So they've got all the makings to jump back in. I think it was just that feel-out game at home. And maybe they need the guy with the sign on the glass saying bang again so that they can start pushing out these big wins.
Game 1 total goes over 6.5 because of overtime. First time for the Avs, and now there's 6 playoff games. They didn't score at least 5 goals. They do score 4 and get a win. The Avalanche now a minus 215 series outright favorite, despite being a Game 2 underdog in Dallas tomorrow night. Now we get to the thriller that really started the evening inside Madison Square Garden. We needed 2 overtimes and nearly 90 minutes of game action alone. but the story is the same at the end. The Rangers defend home ice, and they take a 2-0 series lead in the Garden against the Carolina Hurricanes. 4-3 the victory for New York. Vincent Trocheck nets the game winner in that second OT. Kasey, how great of a game did we see last night inside the Garden?
Yeah, that was a fantastic game. Anyone who got to be present for that, congratulations. You're seeing two teams that kind of line up so well statistically, battling it out, but the Rangers are proving to be more efficient with their chances. They had one less scoring chance than the Hurricanes, and they capitalized on every moment. Not to mention is that heading into this series, we talked about how crucial special teams was going to be. Hurricanes not capitalizing on their special team moments. The New York Rangers continue to capitalize on their special team moments. So if you look at the closeness of a lot of this game, you see the difference maker being two key power play opportunities, obviously power play closing the door on game number 2. So this is going to be hard for Carolina to crawl out of because they're getting the scoring chances. They're getting the shots off. Shesterkin's just the better goaltender right now, and you can't really change much about that. He's facing a lot of high danger opportunities and shutting it down without blinking an eye. And the New York Rangers make minor adjustments as into stepping up their physicality, staying out of the box. I think they had 2 less penalties yesterday than the Hurricanes did. And the Hurricanes, while they're playing pretty disciplined, the calls are just not going their way. The bounces are not going their way. They're going to have to get some other guys involved. Gensel's been great. Aho was tremendous last night. But their defense is going to have to do what they've done all season long, get active in offensively and help out their forwards to get those shots past Shesterkin.